Hello, I'm Kay
And I'm Mike.
from IndigoBlu, and we are going to show you the use of the translucent paints, or at least one of the uses. So we're going to be using our translucent paint set here, because these are great for layering and colouring in.
Yes.
So I'm actually using the Gladioli stamp set. This is an A5 stamp set, which is just gorgeous, and it's got this lovely Gladioli composition.
Shall I hold that for a second while you're stamping, because
one's jittering about because I'm trying to stamp
so
this.
That's the Gladioli stamp set, but we're not talking about stamps today, so check out the stamps on the website. She does get sidetracked.
I do. I get a bit overexcited. So I just want to make sure that this is all nice and black. So, and I just need to stand up to do this. So bear with.
Everybody has to stand up to do that.
That's lovely. So I've used VersaFine on that. And I'm just going to use some super fine embossing glaze, because that acts as a resist, so that when I'm colouring in with my translucent paints, it gives me a nice border on the black line work to resist that.
Are you going to have to get the jet engine out on this one?
Yep, here we go.
It's ever so warm.
It warms up the room fairly sharpish, doesn't it? So what I've got here is my paint mat, and now remember, these are really, really strong. So I would say about the size of a grain of rice is plenty.
So the translucent paints and the matte paints, which we've seen already, the translucents are different in what way, Kay, apart from them being translucent?
Okay, so they are the same base, which means that in actual fact they're a true fabric paint. So they, like the matte ones, they can actually go onto fabric, cork, plaster, metal, all of those different surfaces the same, because they've got that same base to it. But these actually are translucent, which means they're see-through, so you can see the colour underneath it.
Right, so ideal for layering.
Absolutely, which is great for this sort of thing, because what I can do is, say for example, I go in with, make sure you get some water mixed in with these, because they work best because they've got no fillers in and no water. Just get an extra bit of water added to them.
So they can be used almost like watercolours as well.
Yeah,
then.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to put
that's one less product you have to buy.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the beauty of them, and that's why we've done it like this, so that each of the products that we bring to market, they can do multiple tasks. So it's not like one job for one product.
I suppose if you're limited for space, rather than having watercolours and acrylic paints, you've got one paint that does both.
Yeah,
it means you only have to store one item then, don't you? Or one set of items.
That's right. And also they're really quite small pots. They're only 20ml, so they do pack a punch, and again for storage it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, well, if they're concentrated, you don't need a big pot, do you?
No, not at all. So I can actually just leave that to soak in like a watercolour.
Yeah.
And then I can come back and I'll show you layering up. For example, if I take this daffodil yellow and I colour in this lovely stalk.
Sorry, if you could just hear that groan in the background, that was Duke the dog.
Actually, it was Daisy. That.
Was it Daisy?
Yeah, Daisy sighs quite a lot. When she's happy, she just sighs. She's just sleeping in the corner on her chair with her cushion. So I'm just getting some of the daffodil on here, and you can still see all the black lines through it.
Yes.
But then if I bring in my, I think this is Sargasso Sea, it is. So I'm just going to add some water to my Sargasso Sea and just mix that in quite nicely. So obviously what happens when you put blue over the top is that you get green, because it's showing the yellow from underneath.
Right.
So I'm just going to...
So I suppose if it's not quite as green as you want it, or it's too green, you could go back over again with a little bit more yellow.
Yes, absolutely. Or if you use a different green, I've got a in the navy here, over in this corner.
Blue?
This is a blue, yes.
You just said green.
Did I say green?
You did.
Sorry, it's called In the Navy and it's a blue colour. So I'm just going to put a little bit down at the bottom here, and then the green will turn more green with the addition of that navy blue. You get more like an emerald green coming through.
Lovely. Almost acts as like a shadow.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's lovely, isn't it? So I'm just going to come in with my daffodil on these.
Of course, with these being translucent, obviously the detail of the stamp isn't lost.
That's right. You'd
if you tried to do this all with the matte paints, obviously you'd paint over the top and you'd lose all the detail.
You would, yeah. It would obliterate the black lines. But in actual fact, what you can do is you can water that down, because it's concentrated, the matte paint, so that you don't obliterate all the black lines either, and you get a more softer look to it.
More of a pastel look.
Sort of pastel, yeah.
And again, with these being acrylic, permanent when dry.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm just going to come in with the mulberry bush. So this is like a beautiful magenta, and this is a really good one to buy because it mixes so incredibly well with so many different colours. So I can put a little bit on here, and it's going to mix in with that beautiful yellow daffodil and a little bit of that lovely burnt orange, which is called Burning Bonfire. No, it's not. It's called Tiger Lily. I do beg your pardon. Got that one wrong.
So that's surprising. Adding that mulberry bush
Yeah.
to that yellow has turned it into almost like a pomegranate colour, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? And I'm not being very accurate. I'm being almost a little bit messy with it.
Yeah, artistic license.
Yeah. But it gives it that more of a watercolour effect, I think. So now I've got just the mulberry bush on top of the daffodil, and you can see the difference in colour that way.
So while they're still wet, obviously you can blend them out even more while they're still wet, but once they're dry, it'll be fixed in position.
Yeah, that's right. So just get some plain water, and you can soften that down.
Yeah. You can see where it's already started to dry.
But I like that because it like looks more like a watercolour.
Yeah. I suppose open time for these, it depends on the substrate that you're working on.
Yeah, it does. And also, you know, how warm it is in the room that you're working,
this is
obviously.
True. And your ambient temperature, wherever you are in the world. So obviously in Arizona, somewhere like that, it'd be a bit different to somewhere wet like Manchester.
So what I would suggest then is, if you want a bit more open time, just wet your paper before you put the colour in. So you're wetting the colour, making sure that's got plenty of water in it, and you're also wetting the paper, the substrate that it's going onto. So you can see here now, this is a lot softer than this here.
Yeah.
Because I've actually wet it first. Okay, and then if you want, you can then go in and add more. So I can just wet this down again. And this is the beauty of watercolour paper, is that you can wet it and re-wet it, and you get this lovely effect coming through. So now I'm coming in with that Tiger Lily.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just putting a few odd little blobs here and there, and I'm just going to let that run and find its own way around. And then with this one, I'm just going to come in with some more daffodil. Just to
it's almost
soften.
blending like you would do with alcohol pens, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
And you'd go back in with a lighter colour just to blend it.
Yeah, I suppose so. So again, you're sort of getting that lovely sort of soft effect there. And then it's up to you how you want to treat the background. So I've got this Sargasso Sea here, and I'm just going to take a little bit round this lovely sort of circle effect here.
See, if that was me, I would have already put my hand in that purple colour.
Would you?
Yeah. Because that's what I'm like. Clumsy.
I am surprised I haven't, to be honest, because the amount of times I go and wash my hands and think, how did I get that colour?
I'm known for getting my elbow in things.
Yeah. So I'm just going to pick up some of these shapes, which will just highlight them and make them stick out a little bit more, because I think they're lovely, they're beautiful.
It's a nice combo. I like the fact the blues in the background makes the oranges and the yellows pop even more.
Yeah, and then we've got in the navy, which is this really, really dark navy, which is really stunning. So I'm going to bring this in a little bit closer to the flowers, because then that'll make it really pop.
Every time you say that, I want to sing, but I won't.
Go on.
No.
Go on. Give us a tune.
It's raining enough.
Just ever so slightly jealous that you can sing. So again, I'm just bringing this in quite close, just to, now can you see it's really moving forward now? Yeah. And then just to pick out some other colours, I'm using the same mulberry bush. Just to pick out different areas again. And I'm just going to take some water and just let that...
Just let it wick out.
Wick out a little bit, yeah. And some water around there. Let's just put a tiny bit of colour in here. Oh, yeah, I've done it. Put my hand in it.
Guess who wins that bet?
And then this is the tiger lily. But I'm going to mix this with some of that lovely magenta, which is the mulberry bush. And I'm just going to put a bit of water in there.
That lovely pomegranate colour again, isn't it?
Yeah, let that just wick out again around here.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So I'm not introducing any more colours, I'm just allowing this to just work its way around. Just cleaning my brush again and just putting some water in here and just allowing that just to pull out. I'm even going over that navy to see whether any of that will move if it hasn't dried yet, so it's a softer colour. Let's have a little bit more here. And then just again pour that out.
So fabric.
Oh, fabric. It's amazing on fabric.
Do we have a sample that I can show?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got the bag over there, and we've got the apron as well.
This one?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, so I'll move this out of the way, otherwise you'll
Just
dip it in the
quickly,
paint.
because obviously one of the properties is that you can use them also on
fabric.
On fabric. So this is a canvas.
Yes, it
like
is.
A canvas
It's a
tote
heavy,
bag.
Yeah. So this is a natural fibre, but it will actually go onto my May fibres as well. And I've actually wet the canvas first, as well as diluting the paint before I go on, which gives you this beautiful watercolour effect. And the stamping, you can see I've actually stamped it with this colour here in the navy.
That's the dark blue.
And that's the dark blue. So you can stamp with it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, which gives you really
Fantastic.
lovely look
Okay,
to
so
that.
are we going to allow that to dry, and then we'll come back when it's dry so they can see that it's not dyed back like watercolours do?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Right, so when you've done,
Yeah,
we'll just show it.
as is.
Yeah. Well, we'll dry it because
Yeah.
it won't really dye back much, will it?
No.
Which is one of the benefits of using them as watercolours. Because watercolours do dye back, don't they?
Yeah.
So we're at about 15 minutes.
Yeah. That's great, because this is all I'm going to do, really. Have I missed any bits?
None that's going to affect them. If you're going to leave that white space there, leave that white space there.
Yeah. I'll just put a bit more water down here.
That's it. Put the brush down.
Yeah, sure I don't need any more.
Step away from the paint. What did we say yesterday? You're going to give it a quick blast.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful not to reactivate your embossing glaze.
Yeah. So there we are. We've dried that off. Normally I would leave it to dry naturally, but I've just heat gunned it. But look at those colours, and then you get the glaze from the superfine embossing glaze.
Yeah. So like I was saying, used like watercolours, but they haven't dyed back like watercolours do when they dry.
No, you
So
still get that vibrancy of colour coming through. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Stunning.
Yeah, I'm really
Lovely.
pleased with that. Great. There you go. Translucent paints. You've got to get them.